presented by Policy Bazaar.
CNBC TV 80, the Policy Bazaar Insurance Show.
India is a very unique consumer market, and the insurance case makes it very, very interesting. Why? On one hand, the insurance density, penetration as well as coverage in India is considerably low. But the same leaves a great deal of interest around how insurance industry scripts the catch-up towards the goal of insurance for all by 2047. Now, to understand any market, the most crucial aspect is to understand the consumer. For insurance space, it's the policy holder. Policy Bazaar, through its second edition of the flagship survey, How India Buys Insurance, attempts to do exactly that. Now, to speak about this particular survey and break down the nuts and the bolts of it, we are joined by, first of all, Anand Roy, the MD and CEO at Star Health Insurance. After that, Venkatachalam Iyer, Managing Director and CEO at Tata AIA Life Insurance, as well as Saravir Singh, the Joint Group CEO at PB Fintech. Saravir, I want to understand something from you. According to you, even today, do you think claims, settlement or denial of claims is still the single largest factor that, prompts a policy holder to go ahead and buy an insurance policy or not? What are the findings of your survey, of your report that threw up in terms of what is the single largest factor which sort of tell a policyholder that he needs a policy and goes ahead and buys it?
Sure. So yes, we surveyed over 3,500 consumers across 30 plus cities in India, across income classification, town strata, etc. And one of the things that we have consistently found, this is the second edition, is that there is still concern or skepticism about the real moment of truth, which is a claim. So insurance is a very simple product. You pay a premium and you pay that in the hope that if there is some problem or if something happens, you will get your claim. And what we find is that now the discussion has got a bit more nuanced. It's not just about whether my claim is settled or not. It's also how my claim is settled. Was the process cashless? Was the process smooth? Did I get 100% of my claim or not? And people are also concerned about the time it takes. For instance, in health insurance, there is concern around discharge, like how long will it take to leave the hospital. Now, that is the story on the health insurance front. In term insurance, interestingly, what we find is that more people hear about successful claim stories. See, the claims are very less frequent in term insurance, as one would expect. So, those stories are not that well known. But when somebody hears that somebody has actually got 1 crore rupees or 2 crore rupees from an insurance company, right, that is a very powerful motivator. So, in our report, we find that last year, 15% of people bought term insurance based on having heard a claim story. This year, that number has gone up to 30%. So, I think, for us in the industry, I think it's very clear. We need more claim stories. We need to convince or show customers that yes, they actually gain by buying insurance.
Okay. Venki, I want to come to you. As Saravir was also pointing out, if indeed the story around successful and transparent claims is so strong right now and it's improving every year, do you think it can actually work in the favor of insurance sales and coverage as well, where policyholders do get encouraged in the best way that they could through actually these successful claim stories?
Firstly, let me compliment Policy Bazaar on this news survey. Not just on the survey, but I think the demonstration of great purpose in bringing protection to almost every part of India today. And we've been very closely partnering with Policy Bazaar for several years now. Now, to your question, you're absolutely right. I think each time we have a story about successful claim settlement, we've seen consumers really feeling great about it. And I'm not really surprised at this 15% going to 30% plus. What we have realized is there is more. We need to really capture this a lot more. Today, there is a Policy Bazaar at the forefront. As an industry also, we should make awareness about this even more pronounced. What we have seen is the choice of an insurance company based on its efficiency in terms of claim settlement comes after the decision on buying the product. Absolutely. Okay, the choke point lies in coming to the decision of buying the product first. So, that's part of the report also as to why there is so much more to be done when it comes to creating awareness about protection and term insurance. Once that happens, You go to you go to a Policy Bazaar screen today, you have the claim settlement ratios also very clearly listed out for choice. From a claim settlement standpoint, let me also assure our listeners, our viewers today, that most insurance companies today have a claim settlement ratio north of 95-96%. So most claims are definitely settled in term insurance. These are also very clearly regulated by IRDAI in terms of turnaround times and so on. So unless there's a disclosure issue, unless there is some kind of a fraud issue, really, most claims get settled.
Having a health insurance, of course, is one thing, but the bigger thing here is to have a health insurance which is enough for you and your family. Now, I want to come to Anand for this question, and these are three questions, but all related to each other. As you come across multiple cases, Anand, of individuals, is the trend encouraging in terms of are people getting enough insurance for themselves and their family? If not, do they acknowledge the fact that there is some bit of vacuum? Do they know that there is vacuum? And is there an effort in life to sort of cover that gap that they see in terms of enough insurance and insurance?
See, first, let's understand that health insurance, speaking from the perspective of health insurance, it is absolutely a necessity. And I think it is incumbent upon all of us here to promote the cause of health insurance, because after roti, kapda, and makan, I think health insurance has become something which is absolutely a necessity, and it's for all segments of the society. I think when people are trying to buy health insurance, they have to evaluate maybe three items which they should consider. Which city are they living in? And we are very happy to tell that we are seeing people now buying higher limits of health insurance itself in the bigger cities, especially where earlier 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs was a norm. We are seeing now coverages going up to 50 lakhs and 1 crore even. And the cost of treatments in the larger cities are obviously higher, and so people are recognizing that and buying those kind of products. But most importantly, as you mentioned, the penetration of insurance in India is still very low, and people who have health insurance also need to evaluate what is their coverage. And almost all companies today offer various add-on products where they can bring their coverage up to the current market standards, whether it is in consumables or in robotic surgeries and so on and so forth. So not only while buying a new product, the consumer should evaluate which is the best of benefit for them, but also existing consumers of health insurance should continuously evaluate their coverage according to their lifestyle and their current stage in life, and move the coverage higher and higher, which insurance companies do allow as well.
Saravir, I want to come to you, and this is on an age-old problem that we are speaking about, that is awareness. Do you think even today that remains to be a single largest deterrent which comes in the way of people taking the step towards buying a health insurance policy, towards buying a term insurance policy?
So, I think, Yash, there are, I would say the glass is half full, as in most things in life. So, on one hand, in health insurance, we find that awareness now is quite high. So, over 80% of people say that they are aware about health insurance. Now, that's the good news. The not so good news is that only 20% people actually buy. So, the gap between awareness and action is still very, very high in the case of health insurance. In the case of term insurance, unfortunately, even the awareness is very low. Less than half the people actually understand what term insurance means, and then of those 45-50% people who are aware, only 10% people are buying. So, I think in term insurance, our job is very well cut out, that we need to promote awareness also about the product, about the fact that you can pay X and you can get up to 500 times the premium that you are paying. I think the one thing that the industry needs to move, see, we focus a lot on products. We talk a lot about features, this thing, that thing. But consumers don't think like that. Consumers, as a consumer, I like to think in terms of stories. If you explain to me what happens, who has benefited from this thing versus, someone who has not benefited, those are the stories that I think we as an industry must tell more often. That what are the benefits of having the insurance, who benefited, so that I can also identify with that person. I think the second thing, which again the industry has been on this path, but we need to do more of, is simplification. I think products should not be made more complex. I think products need to be made more simple, and they should be very straightforward, that you will pay this, these are the conditions, and you will get this. And I think the third thing which we all always have to do is to make the process of claims, etc., again simple, and in my opinion, sometimes we can make it just transparent. many times if you can explain to people what happened and why it happened, I think that helps a lot, and it just builds trust. See, insurance is a business of trust. We need to build trust in the product, in the process, and the more we can do about that through stories, I think the better off we'll be.
Anand, I want to come to you with a very interesting finding from Policy Bazaar survey also in terms of how India buys insurance 2.0. I was reading it in the report that just about 28% of the respondents ranked health insurance above equities, mutual funds and government bonds. What would you say, how dire is the situation when you read something like this, and how can it be changed in terms of awareness and people understanding what health insurance policy does and how important it can get?
Yes, I think as Sarabir mentioned, the awareness factor has been quite high as far as health insurance is concerned, especially after COVID. People do understand the need for health insurance, and the unfortunate situation is that typical, tendency is that nothing is going to happen to me. Things may happen to my neighbor or my friend, but nothing's going to happen to me. And then the the reason why you buy insurance is to save yourself from some kind of unfortunate incident in the future. And health insurance has to be purchased when people are otherwise healthy and not when an incident happens. So I think that kind of mentality does exist, but over time, and I think over communication by all insurance companies, all stakeholders, I think this is changing. And I would say that we are seeing that health insurance has already become the largest segment in the general insurance industry. It is also the fastest growing. Partners like Policy Bazaar have also contributed significantly to make this happen.
Coming to you, Venki, and a large space, term life insurance, to be honest, very, not so well understood even today by policyholders. And I think that's the reason why we still point out many problems here. What are the big problems here when it comes to term life insurance? A completely different ballgame. And how is the industry thinking about addressing those problems?
Yeah, I think the point about awareness has been very clearly put forth. One other thing on awareness I see is, in our industry there's a large value of claim that is still unpaid. People who have policies maybe have not spoken to the nominees honestly about the policies. So these claims are also, lying without getting paid. The other thing is, we all over time, during the early years of life, invest for anything that has a benefit for the person also. We think about family, legacy, etc., usually later on in life. And term life is all about leaving something for your family. I think data on health records or income documentation to make the process more seamless would be according to me some choke points. So I think we have a long way to go, and the effort is well and truly on.
Saravi, to end the first part of the discussion on the survey, on the report which Policy Bazaar has released, according to you, single largest problem in terms of findings of the survey that comes in the way of adoption of health insurance and life insurance? And let's end this discussion on a positive note. What is the single largest encouraging thing that the survey throws up in terms of, which gives you a lot of optimism for the next 10 years in terms of insurance in India and for the goal of insurance for all by 2047?
Yeah, so I think, Yash, the first part is that there is awareness in health insurance. We need action, right? So the awareness to action gap is high. We need to do that in health. In term insurance, we need to improve both. The single biggest reason I feel, the barrier, if you think about it from the survey, is that people underestimate the cost of not having insurance. So I think that lack of awareness is the single biggest, awareness of your financial outcome is the single biggest challenge. The positive side, like you said, is the fact that people who have got claims, as those stories spread, people are able to appreciate the value of insurance. What we have seen is, once you've got a claim, you really value the insurance. And I think as we go forward, that gives me a lot of hope. The industry is very focused on paying claims, and as those people, positive examples spread through and we can tell more stories, then I think we will be in good shape.
Well, I guess that's the perfect conclusion when it comes to the first segment of this discussion on the Policy Bazaar Insurance Show. On the other side of this very short break, we discuss something which bothered me about what happened to a policyholder very recently I came across, and what are the do's and don'ts in terms of ensuring that this unfortunate incident does not happen to you? We discuss all of that on the other side of this very short break.
CNBC TV 80, The Policy Bazaar Insurance Show. CNBC TV 80, The Policy Bazaar Insurance Show.
Hello and welcome to the Policy Bazaar Insurance Show. Now, as promised in the first segment, we discuss this very unfortunate incident. Just last month, I came across an insurance accident. A 67-year-old lady was missold 61 life insurance policies. This was sold through 6 life insurance companies within a period of 5 years. Now, this had some ULIP policies, some long-term policies, all of which practically had nothing to do with what the individual required. This was all done by the lady's relationship manager, who first gained her trust and then, despite the insured's denial to have any insurance policy with any kind of lock-in, sold her exactly that. The relationship manager went to the extent of forging signatures to sell more insurance policies, and when the cover was finally blown, she had already left her financial planning firm and fled the country. Now, fortunately, all life insurance companies, acknowledging this as a case of mis-selling, returned the premium which was paid by this individual. But there's a lot to learn and understand here for policyholders who let their financial planner take decisions for their investments. Not saying that there's anything wrong to have a financial planner through whom you plan your finances, but all I'm saying is that it is very important for you to acknowledge your role, understand what should you cross-check, what should you understand, and what should you let the financial planner decide. Venki, as I said, I mean, when you hear such stories, it does create a lot of deficit in your mind. Though here it wasn't the insurance companies, but at the end of it, a part of the ecosystem which sort of left you in distress. According to you, in a situation like this where you have a financial planner, you yourself are not being able to plan your investments, your insurance, your personal finance needs, what should an individual be careful of not taking those things lightly when somebody is taking the decision on your behalf?
Let me, yes, firstly acknowledge insurance products are slightly complex, right? And the responsibility lies with A, the insurance companies, of course, and B, the advisors as well. In some distribution, in some parts of our distribution, we are very clear to not be selling investment-linked policies to people who are age 60 years and above. And for such senior citizens, the onboarding process becomes one where on a video we have the policy features being validated, spoken about, recertified, reconfirmed before being issued as a case. It's important. So, and then comes the responsibility on part of the customer as well. Now, insurance policies come with a 30-day free look period, during when the terms and conditions of the policy can be re-looked at, and then the decision can be made against continuing with the policy or not. But I think it's not, while it, like you rightly said, it's good to be trusting your financial advisors, but it's always, each time you sign a check, look at the fine print, see what the documentation is saying. On our part, I think the need to simplify all of this is definitely there. One idea that we at Tata AI are going to be doing is, like in airlines, where you have a list of items that are not supposed to be carried. We are talking about features that the policy is not going to be covering, more importantly, than the long list that it covers, because people do not go through that long list.
Saravi, to you, like we say, do not share your OTP with any unknown individual, right? What is that one complete no that you should be careful of as policyholders when trusting someone with your decision to buy a policy or a financial product?
So, Yash, I'll just make it 2-3 points. I think the first thing, as Venki also explained, is that whoever may be suggesting the policy to you, do your own research. It is not very hard in today's day and age. There are platforms like Policy Bazaar. There are other platforms where you can go and just research. You don't need to buy, but you need to research. Second thing I would say is that if something is too good to be true, then it's most probably false. Third thing I would say, buy from an advisor who is licensed. There are regulated intermediaries directly from insurance companies you can buy. So, I think both you should be the advisor should be trustworthy. Then good news is that the regulator has thought a lot about customer protection. So, when you get the policy, you can check the policy. Now, there is a CIS, which is a customer information sheet, where you can see the salient features of the policy. So, you can again check against what you understood versus what is written over there. And finally, there is a free look period. The free look period has now been extended to 30 days. So, within 30 days, you can cancel the policy, no questions asked, you can get your money back. If one thing I would just advise consumers, if something is too good to be true, don't believe it. All financial products have a risk return spectrum. Long-term products will take time before they deliver returns to you. So, just be wary of that, of buying something which sounds too good.
Anand, final question to you. What are certain red flags that individual companies should place within the system when something like this is happening? How do you reach out to the individual directly and at least inform them, get a consent from them and a reconfirmation whether they are giving consent to the financial advisor to take any particular decision which is termed as a red flag for the insurer? How should that practice evolve amongst insurance companies and within insurance companies?
Yeah, absolutely, Yash. I think, mis-selling and some amount of suppression is a constant issue in this industry, and I think that has to be solved through technology. Just like when one is visiting a doctor, one intends to disclose every health parameter which one has. Similarly, when buying a health insurance plan, it would be ideal if the consumer can disclose all kind of health related issues he or she or the family members have. And do not leave it to the distributor or the advisor to fill in the proposal forms. Please do fill up the proposal forms personally and sign them yourselves. And on the policyholders' protection, the regulator has done multiple things in the last couple of years, and I think that just goes to strengthen the ecosystem, where consumers should check once they receive the policies and the customer information sheet that whether everything has been properly understood. And also, in health insurance, there is this concept of pre-existing ailments. So if the pre-existing ailments disclosed by the consumer has been captured in the policy or not, these are some of the small checks that has to be done while buying this product, so that at the time of claim there is a good experience and there is no to and fro. I think this is something which is very critical and is a very important thing for everyone to understand. Yeah.
It's been a good episode today. We've spoken about what is India thinking when it comes to insurance, in terms of buying, in terms of not buying, in terms of what should be done to get an individual to the doorstep of the insurance company and make him buy the right product. Also, we've spoken about what should you do if somebody is taking the decision on your behalf when it comes to your financial investments. What are the do's, what are the don'ts, and how to protect yourself in such situations. But with that, it's curtains down on this episode. We will return with another interesting topic, another interesting set of guests from the industry to break that down for you, our policyholders. Till then, stay safe, stay insured.
CNBC TV 80, The Policy Bazaar Insurance Show.
Presented by Policy Bazaar.